Well, hey everybody, welcome back to day 2 of the 5-day BioPharma Job Challenge. So yesterday we talked about how the old way of finding a job sets most people up to lose before they even start. But today we're moving into action, how to find the right opportunities faster, smarter, and with a lot less frustration. I mean, let's face it, the traditional ways we've been taught to job search are outdated. Job alerts are noisy, job boards are flooded, network advice is vague. And if you're feeling frustrated with the process, good. That frustration means you know deep down there's a better way. And that's why you're here. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to get crystal clear on the roles and companies that deserve your time. Set up smarter search systems that surface great roles while you sleep, and track and manage these opportunities like a pro. Even if project management isn't your superpower, I know it isn't mine. Plus, today you're going to get a look at 2 powerful tools. One you already have access to through medicineandmarket.com. Many of you have been using it. It's jobs at medicineandmarket.com. And one brand new tool, our Jobs AI, that we're rolling out just for our early community. So remember, this is about building your system, one that works for you, even when you're not actively searching. So let's dive in and show you how to take control of your search starting right now. Okay, so let's walk through some visuals. Are you ready to roll up your sleeves and have some fun? Let's go ahead and do just that. Okay, so we're talking about diving in to find that right job. And there are those of us that are here that are passive job seekers, right? Where if something opportunistic came up, we'd certainly consider it. And in this climate, in the biotech and pharmaceutical industry globally, not just the US and the EU, there are a lot of external pressures that make us consider being aware of the opportunities that are out there. Financial pressures. If you take a look at what's happened with so many of the biotech and pharma stocks that are publicly traded, my goodness, in the last 3 years, it's not uncommon to see companies down 30, 40, 50, 80% in some particular cases. If they need to raise more money, well, their valuations are much lower. That means money is more expensive. That means the pressure is on. When the pressure is on, you have to look across the organization for ways to cut costs. If you're following what's happening in big pharma, even today, Pfizer announced their earnings. Well, what did they talk about? Well, they talked about finding billions of dollars of money to go ahead and save, a cost savings initiative. And let's face it, if that means something to you, if you're at one of those organizations that's talking about those things, and maybe they don't have all the specifics rolled out, you want to take that and be practical. Put it through a framework. Whenever there's uncertainty, I try to use a framework to help me think through what my steps and my options are. Well, if I'm an employee, it's likely I'll be faced to have fewer resources to go ahead and do my job. When cost cutting happens, that's pretty regular. Many of us who've been through this cycle a few times know what October feels like every single year. It's like, oh, by the way, the Q4 budget you thought you had, well, it's going to be a little bit different. When it comes to personnel, there's no question. There are efficiencies being scrutinized all over the place with the number of people, the number of resources, and beyond. And by the way, outsourcing isn't safe either. What I've heard from so many executives is that right now, in this particular market, they are thinking about how to get rid of pilots that don't seem to be proving to have proof of concept, and further on the vendor side, should we consolidate to get better pricing with those folks? So whether you are in biotech and pharma, whether you're serving it in some way, you might be thinking about what your options are and being aware. Let's make that process efficient, and let's do it right now as we talk about this topic of finding the right job faster today. Okay, so first and foremost, we talked a little bit about our homework last night, didn't we? We were thinking about, are we clear about the roles? Are we clear about the companies that we might be going after? Now, this is not to say that we're not opportunistic. Of course, we're opportunistic if something really amazing comes up, a company that maybe we weren't aware of, a movement from a role that we're kind of used to and is traditional, that's being innovative and evolving in some other place. When those things come up, that's a beautiful thing. We love those options. But when it comes to a structured and standard search, clarity unlocks speed. This is a lesson that I've certainly had to learn over the course of my biotech career for sure. But clarity unlocks speed, because when we're clear about our target roles, it may help us filter through the white noise very, very quickly. And let's face it, with a lot of traditional job search engines, we have to scroll through a lot of things and try to determine, is this for real or for not? Is this worth me considering or not? I mean, can you relate to what it's like to feel in some ways that companies are coming up with these creative job titles? We don't even know what they mean anymore. Is this a sales job? Is this an MSL job? What is this job? This funky title. But clarity unlocks speed. If we can make sure that we're clear on the titles, being opportunistic where we can be, but also the companies that are worth your time, that is very, very helpful as well. We can create tracking mechanisms on that short list of companies that you've decided are worth going after. So we can use tools. Let's talk about those tools today for sure. Okay, so one of the reasons why a lot of job alerts fail that we might have access to, when I talk about this, I'm referring to company career pages that have some sort of job alert associated. You can put in your email or RSS feed if something's new when it comes to those roles. Let's face it, you get alerted about everything. So if they're looking for a real estate supervisor for one of their facilities, you're getting these alerts as well. And I think about your time and your efficiency when we talk about this stuff. The volume can be really overwhelming. We don't like that. There's poor fit matching. I know that I've seen that with a lot of LinkedIn job alerts as well. You try to put in some specific criteria, yet you still get a list of companies that, I mean, they're pharma adjacent. They're not things that you would really want to go for based on what you've built with your skill sets in the past and your aspirations, in the future. And I just want you to know that at the end of the day, it's the system's fault, not yours. So if you feel the overwhelm, if you feel like there's this lack of fit, it's not you, it's the system. So what can we do to monitor these opportunities in a smarter way? Well, we can pre-program some of our LinkedIn job searches. So first practical exercise would be, if you are an active or a passive job seeker, I would encourage you to use LinkedIn and many of its incredible superpowers. You can create searches and you can save those job searches. There's a couple ways. One, on the platform, depending on what level of LinkedIn you have, whether you've got the free version or a premium version, you can set job alerts for very specific criteria. If you haven't done that already, be prepared to need to modify that as you go. You're going to test and learn, because sometimes you find yourself creating a search that's so specific that results are good, but then if you do a general search, you realize things have been missed along the way. That gets frustrating. Did I miss my window of opportunity? But at the same time, we are all suffering from information overwhelm when it comes to everything that we deal with professionally. So you're going to have to probably set up a few alerts. Do that with a system, or if you find a great search term, you can actually save that web address. Put it in your spreadsheet, save it, in your browser, as ways to click and populate those searches as well. So while you can use the system on the platform itself, don't be afraid to save the web address as well that represents search results from something that was effective for you. One tip: consider using the time option of when the job was posted. You can do last 24 hours, last 7 days, last month. If you're checking frequently, last 24 hours is a great search to be able to save the address, the URL, and then click on that when you wake up every morning with your coffee and check to see if there's anything new that popped up. So a second way of doing this is creating Google alerts for those target companies. So let's pretend you picked 10 target companies that represent what you're going for. Let's pretend you were going after neurology companies, for example, biotech, pharma, life science. They needed to be neurology companies. You found 10 of them that sound really, really good for whatever reason. Maybe you know the company. Maybe you love the disease state. Maybe you know some people at the organization, but you found 10. Do you know you can go into Google Alerts, just simply type that in, Google Alerts, and Google will show you that function. And you can put in a term about that company, about that disease state, about that pipeline asset, whatever it may be. Put in those search terms, and you can ask Google to give you an alert with some interval of your choosing, and it'll send you information. It'll send you an email, an update, an RSS feed that tells you, hey, here's the latest news about that particular search term, that topic that you put in there. When you've got a target list of companies, that level of clarity helps you set up those alerts, and you become very aware of what's going on with those organizations. One thing that we do, there are certain pharma companies that we're tracking for various reasons. When they put out their investor reports, so they present at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference, they submit their 10K, which is kind of a description of their activities. We want to make sure that we're getting the alerts associated with those presentations, those slide decks, those SEC filings, so we can scan them for information that we need to understand what are the company's priorities and activities in both the trailing period and the future period. If you're looking for job opportunities with companies that are in a state of potential hyper growth in the near future because they're waiting for a clinical readout or whatever, Google Alerts is a great way to help you stay on top of what's happening with those organizations. And then a third tool to monitor these opportunities, and it's got pros and cons, is our very own jobs.medicineandmarket.com search engine for jobs. Now, let me make sure that you're clear about this. We create a curated list of companies on the jobs.medicineandmarket.com website. We've decided that there's roughly 130 companies or so that we think are doing some really, really great work. They're in good shape. They've got reasonable opportunity. It's no guarantee of success, but we feel very strongly about them. So we curate positions from those companies and put them on the site. Now, we're always looking for additional organizations. We're also watching the companies that are on our preferred list to see what's going on with them, how things are going culturally, financially, and otherwise, and it's dynamic. Jobs.medicineandmarket.com is a great job search engine for you if you're looking for jobs in several of the top reputable companies that are out there. And not all of them are big pharma, by the way. There's a lot of smaller organizations that are out there, but it's not going to cover the entire marketplace. And the reason why we did that is we feel that there's already those options out there with Indeed and LinkedIn and many other different job aggregators. But is there someone out there who's taking this curated wider list of those opportunities to help our peer group? And that's what we decided to do. We decided to own that space. Now, if you want to go to a recruiter's website where they have a specific number of clients, say 5 to 10 pharma companies that they're working with, they'll post those opportunities. They're in the business of serving their clients, and it's a great resource. I'd encourage you to go ahead and take a look at those. But when I think about what it would be like if I were a job candidate coming from pharma and biotech myself, I wish there was something a little bit wider with a group of companies that I'm pretty sure would be worth tracking. And that's what jobs.medicineandmarket.com is giving to you when you use those curated lists. So I encourage you to check it out. It's got a job alert function on there with an email to tell you what's new weekly or daily. Check it out. It's worth looking at. So the Google alert you can basically do in 60 seconds if that is something that you want to do. It's pretty straightforward. Just go to just literally Google alerts in your search bar. Take a look at that. But go down to deliver to. After you put in your term and your frequency, you can deliver as an RSS feed. And that will, if you have an RSS reader, it's a great way to have that dump into your news feed if you're using one of the many popular tools like FeedBlitz or Feedly or what have you. I know they're very, very popular with folks. So check that out for those companies that you're tracking. Like I said, you may be familiar with this. This is jobs.medicineandmarket.com. You can use the search with geography. We've got several different categories related. Once again, it'll be curated. And if you ever have ideas about companies that we should be tracking that are not in there, I would say this: always let us know. Drop us a message. Maybe we'll consider adding the company. And just because a company is not in there doesn't mean that we don't endorse them or we don't think that they've got great opportunities. There's various reasons why we do and don't have certain companies on there based on their condition, their culture, and otherwise. But we're very open to looking at other organizations as well as we go along. Okay, so we've got several different ways: traditional methods, the large-scale methods such as LinkedIn, which is going to have a really wide swath of positions, because any company that puts on their LinkedIn profile that they're a part of the biotech industry, for example, even though they're not really a biotech company, those jobs will show up in their feed, and you get to filter through. You've got Google Alerts. When you find the job posting, you can definitely supercharge your search with Jobs AI. So jobsai.medicinemarket.com is a new tool. You may have seen that before. For those of you that have signed up for this session, we've sent you an email with an invite to our Jobs AI function tool. It's got a lot of cool things inside of it. I'm going to show you a few items. But one of the things that we have in basically a 3-step process that we lay out, and there's many tools in each step, but step 1 in finding the job, you can use our AI tool to help look not only at jobs.medicinemarket.com, but it's also connected to Perplexity, which can search the broader web for job opportunities as well. So if you have something that's really specialized, if you feel like I'm just not seeing postings anywhere I look that are really aligned to what I want, say it's a specialized role, a very specific geography, check it out, because it's got that Perplexity function built into it, and it can be highly effective in helping to widen your search. For me, I would encourage you to start with jobs.medicinemarket.com. That's a pure play search engine with those job listings in there. If you need to go wider, you've got your traditional resources. If you want to do some investigating further, maybe use step 1, the job search part of the Jobs AI tool, to help you conduct a really wide search around very specific terms that you're interested in. So when you log into the Jobs AI tool, what you'll see in step 1 is finding jobs. That's what that specialized AI is trained on. The jobs that are currently listed at jobs.medicinemarket.com, but it also has the ability, using Perplexity, to go out there and search the web. So click on step 1, open a chat, and you can create that search. And remember, when you're a user of Jobs AI, for those of you that are part of the job challenge, you've got 50 free credits that go with that. This tool is going to be $497 for 90 days moving forward. But for our early community, we will give you a lifetime deal and launch pricing if you're interested in it. But I want you to use the credits up and test this thing out before you think about moving forward in some way. But if you want a lifetime deal for the tool, we'll have that available. You can even take a look at the tool itself under the pricing to go ahead and pick that up if you're interested. But this will remember the conversations that you have. It'll save it. Now, it's private to you. We don't have access to that. We don't look at that sort of stuff. But if you see just under step 1, I created one conversation, one chat. I clicked on that, and it'll save my different conversations. So if you use things like Claude or ChatGPT and it saves those conversations, this will do the same thing for you. So you can create a bunch of different queries for different job searches, such as thought leader liaison in Portland, Maine. You could have neurology sales specialist in Portland, Maine. You could do all medical science liaison in Los Angeles. You could create a bunch of different conversations and go back and continue the chat. So it'll remember that in some way. And you see that blue button in the middle of the screen, that's where you go ahead and click and create a new chat. Now let's talk about tracking. So we've got all of these different sources to get access to different job listings that are out there. Great. Okay, well, once we find them, we want to track what matters, right? In business, what we always talk about, we measure what matters. Well, you want to track this. One of the best ways to kind of enjoy the process as best you can, whether you're a passive or an active candidate, is to have a great system so you don't have to put too much thinking power into when did you see an opening? When did it pop up? When did you apply for it, if you applied for it? And track that in some way, shape, or form. You may have your own system. I think that's great. We created a very simple Google Sheet, which we've shared the URL in the PDF. So if you go into the Eventi app, that you should be in right now watching this, you should be able to see there's a PDF attached to the agenda item for this particular session. If you click on that, it'll tell you how to go ahead and save a copy of this Google Sheet tracking tool. So it's got a couple formulas in there. It's nothing crazy, but it's really meant to take advantage of all the best practices that we've heard along the way from our broader biopharma community that's out there, and help you track the company, the job title, the company name, the URL, what date did you apply, and it'll watch for how long it's been since you applied, so you can manage the process. If you want to be successful when it comes to this job search, whether it's active or it's passive, we want to be as effective and efficient as possible. These situations can be a pressure cooker. So if these tools help take the pressure off, you know what? We're doing a great thing for our community. Hopefully, we're serving you in that regard. So this simple tracker will help you manage the search. It'll capture a few items. And remember, the visibility creates momentum. It gives you a chance to go ahead and follow up for sure. So take a look at that PDF. You'll see the link. All you do is you'll just copy. The template is view only, so you just save a copy under file. We've got the instructions in there, and you'll find that it's going to be very, very helpful. And even color code how long it's been since you applied, in the spirit of just being helpful, and one place to easily track this stuff. And my pro tip would be is, as you know, if you've been tracking positions at all out there, a lot of jobs get reposted and reposted and reposted. So with all the overwhelming information that's out there, if this helps you better track when these things come open for the first time, and you don't get confused by some new alert on one of the job boards that says, hey, new posting, when it's actually a job that was listed originally 7 weeks ago, this might make things easy to track. Okay, so if we've found the roles, we're tracking what we're interested in, and maybe we're applying for. Now let's think about the next step in finding those jobs. And what I think, and many people will say, is one of the most effective ways to get that incredible role is going to be through the network. There's nothing like coming in warm as a candidate rather than cold. When you're a cold applicant, you have to find the job. You have to go through the application process. You have to hope someone screens it, flags it, and moves you forward in some way. You have to hope that recruiter, internally or externally, that hiring manager or that hiring manager team somehow says, yes, we want to talk to this person. Let's go ahead and move them forward. You're relying on a lot of computers and people to filter you through the process. But the network, when you come in warm, you're a known entity. You have that social glue that's happening with folks saying, hey, I really think you should talk to Frank. He's an exciting person in this particular space. If you haven't been working on your network, I would say now is the time. In a period when it comes to the industry headwinds, where things look like they may be contracting, that there's potentially more stress and more uncertainty, now more than ever, not only should you be networking, but everyone else should be too, which means you might have even more success and enjoyment out of that process. As many people have said before, dig your well before you're thirsty. Groom that network. Reach out to people when you don't explicitly have a need, and you never know what opportunities are presented to you. So do that, and do it in a very robust way. I can't stress to you enough. Go back and think about, who did you have a new hire orientation with 7 years ago at XYZ Pharma Company? You haven't talked to them in a few years? Don't be shy. Reach out to them, reconnect, take advantage of those relationships. Remember, over here, we're all about trying to bring this community together. So just tell them I sent you if they ask why when you're reaching out. Okay, so let's talk about tomorrow. I want you to assess these opportunities like a pro. If we're finding the good jobs, if we've got a good list, we've got our target roles, our target companies, we're tracking those roles that we're going after. We're leveraging our network to both find opportunities as well as accelerate opportunities moving forward. Then I want to preview what's about to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is one of the most important sessions of the entire week, because when it comes to clarity, improving speed, efficiency, and effectiveness, let me tell you, assessing these roles and these companies very, very quickly is absolutely critical. And the tools that we're going to walk you through tomorrow, I really think you're going to like them a lot. I hope that you're impressed by these tools because we've worked very hard to make them specialized. We've worked very hard to make them comprehensive, and we've worked very, very hard to make them purpose-built for your specific use. So when we find that role before we apply, because we don't want to apply for things that we're really not interested in, it would be a shame if you applied for a role, got 3/4 of the way through the interview process, only to find out that information was available about the company, their culture, their pipeline, and you didn't know about it, and you feel like, wow, I think I may have wasted my time. I don't want to work here. There are incredible information resources that are out there. We're finding ways to aggregate the most important things and get them to you very quickly. So tomorrow is about synthesizing the best resources to help you assess these opportunities like a pro. We want to eliminate the poor fits. We want to focus our energy where we have the best targets, and we want to save as much time and frustration as possible when it comes to all of this stuff. Okay, so this is super, super important. So tomorrow, I think you're going to enjoy. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. That is for sure. So on that note, today I want to think about what we've accomplished. We've talked about tools and traps yesterday. We've talked about how this process can be frustrating, and frankly, some of it is built to be frustrating for many of us. But today we started our journey and getting clear about the roles and the companies. We thought about the plan, the process, the systems that are going to help us take advantage of this clarity we have on what we're going after, how we track it, and how we're not left behind when it comes to finding out about those opportunities and being able to move forward. So today you learn how to flip the job search process from chaotic to strategic. Now, how to filter faster, monitor smarter, and move from reacting to leading your own opportunity pipeline. And here's the truth of it all. The one who wins in the crazy job challenge race, whatever that may be, it's not the person who sends the most applications. The winners are the ones who eliminate the bad fits early, and they zero in where they can win. So tomorrow, like I said, is a critical next step, because finding opportunities, it's kind of easy. But assessing them intelligently and knowing which ones are worth your time, energy, and career capital, that's what separates the top 10% from everybody else. So day 3 is where everything starts to come together. Same time, same place. You do not want to miss it. So I look forward to seeing you then. For those of you that are going to join us with office hours, make sure you use the Eventi app to move yourself over to that. I can't wait to open up that conversation. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow.